Just hold 10 Solana. Right guys, today we're going to be checking out an interview from Solana CEO Anatoly Yakovenko, where he's going to be going into detail about Solana's master plan to grow the token from $100 or roughly 121 to where it is now, to over the way to 200, 300 and so on. So if you're not holding any Solana, make sure to stick around till the end of the video and see what Anatoly has to say. So yeah, before getting into the video, actually let's see how Solana is holding up. And as you guys can see, it is sitting at $121. Market cap is down up 5% at number 4 of all coins, which is just mad, and the volume is down 12%, also number 4. Overall, it's just been extremely bullish this week. It's just been unlike anything we've seen on the market, like steady increase overall for the month, for the year, just green, just bullish overall. A very good token, very good utility, very good tokenomics. And yeah, Anatoly Yakovenko is gonna speak more on this specifically, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
And I'm not even as a guy. I have no business arguing about software. Yeah. Like, I can write some crappy Python, and I think the most technical thing I ever did was write the electronic music for this podcast. But let me ask you a very simple question for non-technical folks out there about Solana. What is in a world where there's probably a little bit too much block space relative to the demand for crypto use cases right now, what's sort of the vision behind creating the world's fastest, cheapest blockchain? Like, what use cases are you targeting with this?
There's this is like a really good question, because we don't know, like, at what point is the market saturated with block space? Are there use cases that are like unlocked at sub-cent transactions that are worthwhile for anyone? There might be, there might not. There's some indication of that. You look at like IoT stuff like Helium and HiveMapper. It would be really tough to do it in any other environment unless it's completely centralized, running on a database. So you kind of need like something like Solana for those.
Yeah, so Solana is what it is, right? Because of its utility and how important the whole ecosystem is. It's not just the price, right? It's not just the token. It's got a whole use case. It's not a meme coin. It's of any kind. It's similar to Ethereum, like you already know by now if you're watching this video, but in my opinion it's better because it got better utility, better tokenomics for the token as well, and better projects overall. But obviously both of them have the space. But yeah, hopefully he's gonna go into why it's better than Ethereum or not, you know, obviously PR, all of that stuff. And yeah,
but could the world create those services in a completely centralized manner and be fine? And no, but like life goes on, right? Like that's like another question. But like, I think there is this like general belief, similar to people building open source software in the 90s, that like, I think if we build these systems in a decentralized way, they'll create more value in the long term for everyone else. Just like you could argue Windows has better features, as good as Linux, yada, yada, yada. But like, for some reason in the 90s, I was motivated to spend my weekends working on open source software because I thought that it would be like a major benefit to myself as an engineer and to like the greater public and to all the other engineers I work with. So there's something to that. I think similarly, like if we can build decentralized systems, the hope is that they're less likely to get co-opted and turned into like the shitty version of the web that we have today. Like if Facebook was decentralized, if Google was decentralized, if all these like things were decentralized from the start, they might not suck as much, right? Like you might not have your data stolen all the time and sold. And like, there's a bunch of benefits that come from that, like diffusion of power and like robustness and reliability. And like, that's the hope, right? And like every person has the option.
And yeah, obviously guys, I know I keep cutting you off, but I have to say, right, decentralization is key for the entire world, right? That's something that's going to be the future of finance, the future of the internet, and that's something that Solana are trying to implement. And yeah, that's a part of the reason why Solana is growing so much is because of that, right? Because of the utility, like I keep saying.
To go work at Like everyone in crypto that's like building stuff, they're solving real hard engineering problems. They all have the option to go work at Facebook, Google, Netflix, Microsoft, earn close to $1 million a year, and just not give a shit. For some reason, they're choosing to do this. Some may choose it for the upside, but a lot of people are choosing it because it's more fun. Like you actually feel like you're fighting the David versus Goliath battle, right? Like you get to like push the hard technology forward. It's just more enjoyable for like a life's career goal to do that than to go like work on a giant Java database to optimize ads for Google, even though probably you'd make more money and will have better work-life balance and your kids spend more time with the kids, right? Like, but like we're here, right? Like we're trying to do something interesting. So in that sense, like there's like a lot of faith in that, like if we build the system, and what am I good at? I'm good at making things like hyper optimized and like efficient. If I apply all my talents into this and like make a really hyper efficient, lowest latency, cheapest cost blockchain, I think it'll open up new use cases and could be very disruptive, and that's cool. I don't know what it's going to be worth, right? Like if Solana's worth like 1/10 of what it is today, we just have smaller validators and features that take longer to ship because there'd be fewer core developers. But there'd still be people that are like, holy shit, this is fun to work on. I'm going to keep going at it. That's the only difference, right? Like,
Yeah, that's very important, right? Obviously, he touched on how different it is developing your own project and developing somebody else's project, even if you are fairly compensated. And that's why you can see the smile. You can see the smile in his face. He's actually excited for this project. It's not just purely for money. Like, obviously, money plays a role. Money plays a role in every decision we make overall, but it just makes him happy as well, right? He has to care more as well. He kind of loses his mind a little bit by being the owner, but he wants to solve this issue, and that's why Solana is the project that it is today, right? That's why it has the utility that it actually brings.
the rest is kind of like up to the gods, you know. Like PMF is really, really hard to find, really hard to predict. So what happens is really, really tough to know, like in the future.
That's actually something that I wanted to ask about, is that last little part there. Is it important to you to build in ways to generate value for Solana? It's like with ETH, right? They basically made the decision, we're going to introduce EIP 1559 specifically so that ETH could derive more value from activity on the chain. Is that something that you view as important?
All proof of stake networks, no matter how the tokens move inside the black box, all derive value the exact same way. There is a resource that people want, and if people want it enough in a short enough time, they will try to access it. And whether you have a burn or not, it doesn't really matter, because even without the burn, people bid up the fees, validators earn more rewards. That means that owning ETH to get more stake, to be a block producer more often, earns higher rewards. It's the same loop. Doesn't matter if it's burned or not. It's a nice meme to have it, the deflationary meme, and that's cool. But 1559 exists for a more technical reason. It's to prevent spam attacks in the ledger. Doesn't really matter. Like if you took away that technical reason, the value accrual to the Ethereum network is exactly the same. It's from like people demanding access to block space and like bidding for it just to such heights that it's significant. Now that's harder for that to occur in Solana because we have localized fee markets, and that's slowly happening in Ethereum because L2s are separating state, and each L2 has its own fee markets. So you can think of each L2 as kind of this generic blob that has its own fees. Those fees now don't really accrue to Ethereum outside of like the L2 data fees. So like,
Yeah, so I'm gonna cut him off again right there, but it's very interesting how he keeps comparing Solana to Ethereum. Let me know in the comments, guys, which project do you prefer, which tokenomics do you prefer, and which utility overall do you prefer, Solana or Ethereum, and who do you think will be the main kind of token within that space, right?
you're already seeing kind of this happening in Ethereum. And the question that everyone should have in their mind at some point, I don't know when, Ethereum will also fix its block space problem, and its block space is going to be much, much higher, probably to the point that the fees to access the data itself, just submitting bytes to the network, are kind of commoditized. There should be like no more than like, 2-3x the cost of the hardware, maybe 5x, but like a small multiple of the cost of the hardware. Hardware is really cheap, like really, really cheap.
It's interesting because I remember, in the early days of Solana, the hardware to run a validator was super expensive, right? Like, what would it cost? What was the cost of one box?
Yeah, when we started, it was about 1,100 a month. Then it dropped to 800. Now it's about 350. My guess is within a year, probably sub 200 a month.
So let's say that Fire Dancer ships and it's a big success. What'll it cost to run a validator?
Yeah, Fire Dancer is far more efficient than the Labs client. So we'll see like how it actually performs. But the problem is that like you're also like when you get like a box at a data center, you're paying for the machine, the cores, the memory, and the bandwidth and the electricity. And like the cost of the cores and that kind of stuff, where efficiency of the code has the highest impact, is like 1/4 of the overall cost, right? So like Fire Dancer could be like 10 times more efficient. The price of that box drops by like 20%, right? That's it, right? Like, so you get some benefits, but not all the benefits. So you need like, it's like a Amdahl's law kind of problem. When you have like a bunch of things to optimize, you make the cost of one zero, the other things become the dominant factors, and you don't see like the same improvement across the overall thing, right? It would be really awesome to see once Fire Dancer's out, what kind of performance they could get on the same hardware. And I suspect it's going to be much, much better, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that, guys. Overall, that's all the time we have for today, but let me know if you want me to continue reacting to this interview specifically, because Solana is very much here to stay, and this is the CEO, so you need to know how he is thinking, how he's wired, and what his plans for the future are. So yeah, with that being said, let me know what you think about Solana. Where do you see its price heading? Are you bearish? Are you bullish? Let me know all of that and more in the comments down below. As always, I love talking to you today, and peace.